what are some of the best practices that you should maintain or should be aware of when it comes to figure preparation? This slide is going to be a bit to go through, but I think the slide will be important to you if you are perhaps taking notes through the course of this presentation. A lot of what you see on this slide comes from feedback that we've gathered from peer reviewers, feedback that I've gotten from journal editorial boards, and these are some of the things that they would like to see better when it comes to figure preparation or when it comes to seeing figures themselves when they are reviewing the paper. The first and foremost element when it comes to your figure preparation is to ensure that there is clarity and visibility in the figure that you are presenting. Oftentimes, people will represent a bar graph with very small font, not clear distinctions, and that becomes difficult for somebody to gauge what it is exactly that's being represented and why that's being used. Therefore, to ensure clarity and visibility, you should ensure that you always have simple layouts with legible fonts and font sizes. Typically, the type of font that you are allowed to use and the font sizes that you are allowed to apply are generally mentioned in the figure guidelines that a journal typically has. Once you apply these guidelines, you should aim to use clean lines and a minimalist approach towards creating your figure to avoid overcluttering. If your figure requires further enhancement or the journal feels that the figure is valid but requires a bit of touch up before the publication process, journals typically have their own in house graphics teams who will take care of this in the basically the post peer review publication process. They take care of that for you, or they will send it back to you and ask you to make the enhancements. Don't make enhancements to your figures without the advice of the journal or perhaps your handling sort of journal editor, right? And of course, the objective of what you are representing in the figure must be clear right from the outset by way of labeling. The second element, something that is very simple but is often overlooked, is to ensure consistency between figures. We have seen several instances where manuscripts have been submitted where one figure has a type of font, a type of representation, and another figure in the same manuscript has a completely different font, completely different representation of numbers and information. And that often causes concern to peer reviewers or even handling editors because they're not sure of whether these two figures come from the same manuscript. Also, as all of you know, the journal publication cycle, people are generally very short of time to validate all this information immediately. So they tend to panic. So the best way to get them to avoid panicking about your manuscript is to ensure that you have consistency between the figures that are present in your manuscript. So your labels, your text, your font sizes, the style of presentation should be consistent between figures, and they need to have that same neat professional look throughout.